John Locke was a British 17th century political theorist. John Locke did a lot of work around the philosophy of knowledge, otherwise known as epistemology. Forget Descartes and Plato's presumption of inborn knowledge. John Locke proposed the theory of blank state, which is the belief that every human being is born with their mind completely empty. Locke believed in empiricism, which is the belief that all knowledge comes from senses and that there is no such thing as inborn knowledge. Locke made a distinction between simple and complex knowledge from which we perceive the world. Simple knowledge is knowledge we perceive from the world, which cannot be broken down into smaller parts. Complex knowledge is built from many simple concepts put together. Examples of simple knowledge could be solid, yellow, straight, or pointy. And from this we have the complex concept of a pencil. From this we can come to many complex subjects such as writing, to words, to sentences, to paragraphs, to essays. It took Locke 20 years to write an essay on the subject, Essay Concerning Human Understanding. What? You didn't know? A case study is when psychologists study one person intently, hoping to reveal the truth of all of us. You can have a case study about almost anything, but first you need to state your problem and do some research. We have discovered a lot of information about our brains by observing people who had damage to certain parts of their brain. Freud constructed his theory of personality from multiple case studies. Through case studies, we have discovered that chimpanzees understand language. Case studies are easily wrong and judgmental of atypical individuals. There is a glimpse in any one of us of what is true in all of us. I'm going to tell you about the structure of your brain, starting with your medulla. Your medulla controls your heartbeat and breathing, so if you don't have it, you die like Frankenstein. Your cerebellum controls your motor coordination and your sense of balance. Your thalamus controls your senses, like when your spider senses start tingling. Your hypothalamus controls your hunger, thirst, sex, reproduction, and body temperature. Your amygdala controls your fear, anger, and aggression. Your hippocampus controls your memory. Your occipital lobe controls your vision. Your parietal lobe controls your senses. Your temporal lobe controls your hearing. Your frontal lobe controls your voluntary movement. Phineas Gage was a railroad construction foreman who had a steel tamping rod go through his head, and apparently he was no longer Gage. Who knew? A fun fact is the composition of the brain contains 77 to 78% water, 10 to 12% lipids, 8% protein, 1% carbs, 2% soluble organics, and 1% inorganic salt. Taste is an intimate testing of our environment. There are 4 different sensations: sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. Taste buds contain receptors called gustations, approximately 10,000. Taste receptors reproduce every 2 weeks. People without tongues can still taste with receptors on the side and roof of their mouth. Try holding your nose. You can still taste your food, but the sensations are muffled. One sense may influence another sense, which is called sensory interaction. Binocular cues are distance cues that only require one eye. Relative size is the comparison of an object's size to assist figuring which object is closer. To a driver, when a pedestrian is small, the pedestrian is far away, so the distance of children can be misperceived. Interposition is when one object is blocking another, so we perceive it as closer. Relative clarity is when we perceive hazy objects as far away. Texture gradient is when objects with a coarse distinct texture compared to a fine indistinct texture signals increasing distance. Relative height is when we perceive objects higher in our vision as farther away. Relative motion is when we are moving and objects around us appear to be moving as well. The faster the object moves, the closer it is. And here's a car crash to remind us all how important distance is. Why do we sleep? To preserve, protect, and restore our bodies. We all carry sleep debt, which is very bad. All teenagers need 9 hours of sleep. Do our dreams mean anything? Women dream of both males and females equally. Men dream of 65% of males. Many times activities of your day are incorporated into your dream. This is called manifest destiny. Freud believed that everything in your dream was related to you wanting to have sex. Gasp. I want REM sleep now.